How we doing, guys? So this video is going to be a little bit different because I was going to be doing the player ratings for the game against Man City. But there's a lot of rumors circulating online that Noni Madueke has done his ACL. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to make this very clear. It's just a rumor. There's no official confirmation. There's nobody with any reliable or credible source behind them that's relaying this, that you can definitively say it's true. But what's the saying? There's no smoke without fire. Now, we know he went off in the game against Man City. I thought it was a surprise. The fact that he went off because he was our best player in the first half. He was our only creative outlet. We now know that there was some discomfort as to why he went off. But now we're hearing these rumours that he's got to have scans because he's possibly done his ACL. And if he's done his ACL, then that's pretty much the season written off. Now, once again, I'm going to make this very clear. They're only rumours at the moment. But if these rumours are true, first and foremost, I am absolutely gutted for Noni Madueke because he has started this season so well. And he's proved so many doubters wrong, including myself. Now, his performances have warranted goals and assists, and that's what's been missing. But anybody with a pair of eyes will be able to tell you that he has been performing. He's changing games. He's doing things that others are not doing. And whilst Bukayo Saka has had a minor injury and has been dealing with that, Noni Madueke stepped in and done exactly what we bought him for. To take that pressure off Bukayo Saka, to be able to step in when he's needed to. But now we could be back to square one because if it is an ACL injury, we already know that it'll be out for the season. You may as well write it off. He may come back before the end of it, but he will be nowhere near the levels that he needs to be until next season. So we're back to square one. What do we do about the Bukayo Saka situation? Because we can't keep playing him over and over and over. It's very clear that that can't happen. Arsenal know it. Arteta knows it. That's why we bought Madueke. That's why we've got such a big squad. But when you lose somebody for such a long period of time, how do you deal with that? And obviously the two names that are being mentioned the most right now already is Ethan Nwaneri and Max Dowman. Now, the situation with Ethan Nwaneri, I believe that he can cover Bukayo Saka on that right-hand side, but I don't feel that's his best position. I don't think he offers us enough in the same way that he can do if he was playing more central. But obviously, listen, Ethan Nwaneri, if he's got the opportunities, he ain't going to turn it down. He ain't going to be like, oh, I don't really want to play there. I'd rather play in a 10, or it's not going to happen. All right. And he's more than capable of doing the job. The other, like I was saying, was Max Dowman, 15 years old. But in my opinion, he is more than ready. And in terms of what they offer as right wingers, I actually think that Max Dowman offers more than Ethan Nwaneri because he's better in that position. Despite the fact he's only 15, he causes more problems as a right winger than what Ethan Nwaneri does. But obviously, at the same time, you've got to be careful because he is still only 15. He's a child. But what I will say is this. Mikel Arteta needs to not use Saka as much as he always has done. There are games when he will have to sacrifice Saka and bring in one of those two players if this situation, Madueke, is true. And what I mean by this is that when you play your Man Cities and your Liverpools and even Newcastle away next week, these really tough games, Bukayo Saka plays. But home games in particular, where we've had Leeds United, Nottingham Forest, you know, we could have Sunderland at home, we can have West Ham at home, and all these kind of games. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to these teams, but I'm looking at these games and home ones in particular, where you could look at and say, right, Bukayo Saka comes out of the side, Nwaneri or Dowman comes into the side. in the same way that we made that sacrifice against Nottingham Forest with Declan Rice. Sometimes you have to do it because the worst case scenario would be to keep pushing Bukayo Saka and then he gets injured. And then what are we going to do? We've got no right winger. We're in the same position that we were in last season. Square pegs, round holes, absolutely all over the place. So all I would say to Mikel is that you need to just pick and choose the right ones. Bukayo Saka plays the big games. If we've got a big game coming up in the Champions League and we're playing, a team in the bottom half of the table at home, the weekend before, Bukayo Saka comes out, bring in one of those two. That's what the squad's there for, ultimately. And the biggest issue that we've had is that we've not been able to utilise our squad because we haven't had one. There's been nobody available. There's been nobody there to cover and all the rest of it. But now we've got that. I don't think Martinelli or Trossard work on the right-hand side. I just don't think it works. So let's bring them out of the equation. Eberechi Eze won't work on the right-hand side, so let's bring him out of the equation. The two names, Max Dowman and Ethan Nwaneri. But if you have to put me on the spot right now and say which one is better and more of a threat as a right winger, I would have to say Max Dowman, despite the fact he's only 15. Oh, when it rains, it pours, as they say. Why always us? When's it going to end, as they say, or as I say? But please, I pray that this news about Noni Madueke is not true. And it is just speculation. It's a vicious rumour. And that it's just a minor knock and he's going to be back within the next week, 2 weeks or something. Best case scenario. But like I said, there's no smoke without fire. And we had this similar kind of thing with the whole Kai Havertz situation before him having the operation. And it's the last thing we need because he's been fantastic for us. Let's be honest about it. So, yeah, sorry to be the bearer of bad news for all of you that don't know. But let's remember, it hasn't been confirmed. Let's wait and see. But let's hope it's not. So, yeah, there we go. You know what to do if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you a lot soon. I'm out of here.